Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Dr. Carmen McGuinness here. So today we're going to talk about using a promise jar. And this is a promise I made to you midweek at my midweek sneak peek that this is what we would talk about. And it's also, more importantly, a promise that I made to myself that I would get this video out to you this week. And I'm keeping my promise. Here I am. It's actually Saturday night. I'm doing this a week early, or a day early, not a week, a day. So here's my promise jar. This is what mine looks like, and I keep it on my desk, which is right here. You can't see it, but it's right here. This is my home office, and this is the desk on my home office, and I always have some stickums nearby. Sometimes I use different colors just to switch things up a little bit. But right now I've got these sort of orangey pink ones. And I keep my little purple pen right here. And I just literally write myself a promise to do something, and promise to myself. And in here it goes. So sometimes these promises are things that seem like they're for other people, like have lunch with your daughter or something like that. But in reality, this is a promise to myself because doing this thing makes me feel like, it makes me happy. It makes me feel like a better person. It makes me feel like a good person. So although some of the promises in here might be along those lines, they're actually still about me. What is my hair doing? My hair's going all weird. I was at a birthday party today, and it was humid outside, so plus it's later than usual, so I look tired. Anyway, so that's how the promise jar works. So let's talk a little bit about why I use this technique, why I think it's a great idea, why I use it with my clients, and how it works. And I use this with all age groups. I do it with kids. I do it with adults. I do it with married couples. Sometimes they will make promises to themselves as a couple. So we are going to do this. We are going to have a date this week. We are going to fix up the house and put it on the market, and because we've been wanting to move, but we've been procrastinating, that sort of thing. So I use it in my relationship practice as well as my practice with children and my practice with individuals, and I use it on myself, and I use it with my family members who can benefit from this. It's also, I've got some friends that are using this approach as well. So let's talk about how it works and what it means. I've given you a few clues. You've seen the actual item. Let's go into some detail. So, we're all guilty of doing this thing that we tell ourselves we're going to do something, this or that, whatever it might be, and then it just doesn't happen. And when that happens, we have, as a result, an emotion, whatever that emotion is, whether it's disappointment in ourselves, whether it's feeling angry with ourselves, whether it's feeling discouraged, whatever it is. And some people just give up. They think, well, I'm never going to quit smoking, so I give up. I've told myself a million times that I'm going to quit smoking. It hasn't happened. I give up. Excuse me, I'm thirsty. Yummy herbal tea. I made myself a promise. It was in the jar maybe 2 weeks ago that I would not drink any coffee after a certain hour in the evening, because what happens with me, if I'm still up at what time is it right now? It's really late. You'll see why it's really late in a minute. It's in the promise jar. But if I drink coffee past a certain hour and I'm still awake at a certain hour, I will stay up and write all night long. And it's great to get my writing done. That's awesome, but I feel tired in the morning and I have to get up. So, and there's something else about that in here too. So moving along here, so we tell ourselves we're going to do something and it doesn't happen, and then we have this emotion, And it just leads to a cycle of not feeling good about ourselves, and also of learning that we can't be trusted. That like a good example of this is, go back to your childhood, and your mom would open your bedroom door and say, "It's time to get up for school. Get up, wake up, wake up, wake up." And she'd see you start to stir, and if she trusted you, she could go off and do her thing. She could go get herself ready, she could make coffee, she could, do whatever mom does in the morning. But if she didn't trust you, she had to keep coming back and reminding you, time to get up, time to get up, time to get up. Well, this is us trusting or not trusting ourselves, because we're now grown-ups. We are literally our own parent. That's kind of, in my opinion, the definition of being a grown-up, is being old enough to parent yourself, being old enough to make sure that you get done what mom used to make you get done. Like clean your room, for instance. So, and get yourself to work on time. It used to be school, now it's work. So that stuff, not trusting ourselves, actually leads to not trusting other people as well, because we all have a natural sense of human nature. You don't have to be a psychologist to know that we're all similar in a lot of ways. If we can't be trusted, why should we trust anyone else? People aren't trustworthy because I can't trust myself, so everybody must be like me, because that's how people are. And guess what? It tends to be true, because we attract people to us who are similar to us. So we want to be those people that we can trust, so that we attract to us other people that are trustworthy. And not trusting other people links up to not trusting the universe at large, because now we're surrounded by people that aren't trustworthy. So life ends up having events in it that happen because you were around people that can't be trusted, and you don't even trust yourself. So it becomes a cyclical, nightmarish problem when we get into this kind of a habit. So what we're going to do today is we're going to give you a couple more examples. We're going to go through my promise jar and look at what I promised myself this week and see how I'm doing, and see how I sort of talk through, not rationalize, but talk through the things that are in here that maybe I didn't accomplish. I didn't keep my promise. And I don't even always, when I look through this, I don't always remember what I put in here, but hopefully I got it done. So, okay. Sometimes these are big things that we promise ourselves, and sometimes they're middle-sized things, and sometimes they're small things. And these are all pretty important. Some of the bigger ones might be things like, I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to drink less, or I'm going to stop smoking. Now, I don't have any of those problems, so these are not examples for me, but these are examples of some big ones, okay? Or it might be something like, I'm going to look for a new job, for instance. That would be an example of another big one. I'm going to move jobs. This is the year I'm going to do it. I'm going to move jobs. Or it might be something middle-sized, medium-sized, like cleaning out the garage. That is an example from my life. Oh my gosh. My garage was messy, like for 10 years. 10 years, probably. When I was married, I could share the blame with my husband, so it wasn't, I didn't trust him to get it done, and I certainly didn't trust myself. But after we got divorced about 5 years ago, it was on me. That garage needs to be cleaned. And it was sort of on him still. He actually, in the end, he did come over and we spent a weekend cleaning the garage out. He did help me. Because a lot of the stuff in there was his as well. And we both felt great when it was done. I mean, he found stuff in there that he actually wanted and took to his house and is using now. And my garage is now empty. My daughter can get her car in the garage, is beside mine, which used to be like squeezed in between boxes and things and bags. Now everything fits. It's great. Every time I come home, I feel happy. I feel like I was a good person. I did what I was supposed to do. My garage is cleaned out. So that's an example of a medium-sized one. Another example, this is something that a client recently put in her promise jar, is to get the guest room painted by Thanksgiving, when her son and daughter-in-law and their kids are coming for a visit. They're going to be with them for a few days over Thanksgiving, and they're going to use the guest room. So she wants to get the guest room painted, and she's going to get new comforter and things like that, maybe a new lamp for the room as well. But that's easier because somebody's going to deliver it than the actual painting, which she's going to have to do herself. So that's an example of a medium-sized promise that someone might make to themselves, to themselves. But equally important, as important to those sorts of large and middle-sized promises, are the small ones. And those are the ones that usually end up in my jar. I think most of my big stuff is accomplished right now. But those are the sorts of things that end up in my jar, is the small ones. And keeping those small day-to-day promises to yourself is really a good place to start. When you think about it, compliance training with a child is a lot like what I'm asking you to do with this jar. When you ask a child to do things for you and you expect them to do it because mommy said do it or daddy said do it, that's kind of the same as my jar, and we kind of need to get into it for you to see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to open it up here in a minute. I promise I will. I promise you I will. I promise myself I will. So my personal biggest sin that's in the jar here, or was in the jar, I'll explain how I changed it in a minute, was, and right here in a public forum, I'm going to, true confessions, my biggest sin was not getting up early enough to do my daily workout. Now, I don't have a lot of excuses not to work out. Right over there in the other room, behind my office, is a home gym, complete with a weight set, a treadmill, a stepper, and plenty of room for my daily yoga practice. And these are all things that I'm experienced at. I've worked out for years, so it's not like I don't know what needs to be done, where it needs to be done, and it's just right in the other room. I don't have a lot of excuses. But I just can't seem to make myself get up at 5 in the morning so that I can work out, get ready to go to work, and make in the morning in traffic hour 45 minute commute to my office. It's actually only 25 minutes away, but traffic is bad here in the morning. So I just can't seem to get up at 5 so that I can be to work by 8 o'clock in the morning. It just hasn't happened. And every day I would think about that promise I made to myself and feel bad about myself. I'd be getting ready for work and feeling, I didn't work out again today. This is not good. So I made a determination that I was asking myself to do an unreasonable thing. If you can't get up at 5 in the morning, you can't get up at 5 in the morning. And it's unreasonable to expect yourself to, and to ask yourself to every single day, and to fail in that promise, to fail to keep that promise, and to continue to feel bad about yourself for months, which is what I did. I had, those of you that have been following me for a while know that I broke my arm last summer, and I had to go a full year without working out because the doctor wanted me to get full flexibility back. Again, those of you that have been with me for a while remember when I couldn't turn my hand past here. Now it goes all the way over again, like the other one does, almost all the way. Because I didn't do any weight training for a year, because that's how long it takes to get your flexibility back, your full flexibility back. So the orthopedist asked me not to do any strength training, which includes yoga as well, because you're supporting your weight, for a full year. At the end of that year, which was July, I couldn't get up in the morning to do the workout in the morning. So at some point, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I made the determination that I was asking myself to do an unreasonable thing every day and failing to keep my promise to myself. So now I work out in the evenings. So I started with this example so that we could have an example right up front of don't ask yourself to do something that is unreasonable. An example with a client, unacceptable, unreasonable example of something that a client asked herself to do, made a promise she would do, was to lose 15 pounds by summer. And she defined summer as June 1st. And she made herself this promise on April 1st. So I actually said to her, 15 pounds is a lot to lose in 2 months. How are you going to feel about things if you don't hit your goal? So we came up with a plan that she would go 1 month and see where she was. Well, at the end of a month, she had lost 5 pounds. And I thought, that's pretty good. I wish I could lose 5 pounds in a month. I'd be happy with that. So she reestablished a goal, a promise to herself that she would lose another 5 pounds by July 1st. And then she would lose another 5 pounds after that. So, by June 1st. So that got her to 10, not 15, and then another 5 after that, which would take her to July 1st. So changing your promises to yourself is doable too, but I recommend that you come up with a reasonable promise rather than have to change it in the middle, halfway through. So, making an unreasonable promise to yourself is kind of like telling your 7-year-old that you're going to go out for ice cream and then saying, oh, nope, sorry, we can't go. And they're going to probably not be happy with you. Eventually, if that keeps going on, they're going to stop trusting you. And that's what happens with us. And it's soul-crushing not to trust your parent to take you for ice cream, and it's soul-crushing not to trust yourself to take care of whatever business you need to take care of. So the first rule of using a promise jar is to be reasonable in your promise making to yourself. So with all that said, we're going to open this jar and you're going to see what my promises are. All right, let's see what's in here. I tend to go through this a couple of times a week. I'll open it and look at it. And, some promises we make, like if I look at it on Wednesday and it's something that's going to happen on Friday, it won't have happened yet. But reading it again is just a reminder that it does need to happen. Okay, so these kind of have an order to them that'll make more sense to you, okay? So one of my promises is start with one I didn't accomplish this week. I did not keep this promise to myself. One of them is, the first one I'm looking at is to get a massage this week. My shoulder, this left shoulder has been really tight this week, and I thought I'm going to go get a massage. It didn't happen. I disappointed myself. No massage and no ice cream. We'll talk about how I feel about that in a minute. Another one is call Susan. Susan is my sister. I accomplished this one. Yay. So I'm going to put it over here in a different stack. I called my sister. We had a nice chat. Makes me feel like a good person when I take care of my sister. Okay. I taught a workshop at my private school and psychology office this morning, a workshop for parents in compliance training with their children. And I made a promise to myself that I would get up 20 minutes earlier than I needed to so that I could get coffee on the way in. I kept my promise to myself. I made it. I have to confess, I only got up about 15 minutes early and I got to the workshop just in the nick of time, but I made it. All right, another one here is dinner with Lauren on Thursday. I had to really kind of go out of my way a lot. I had to make myself do things during the day Thursday so that I could get to Lauren for dinner on Thursday. Mission accomplished. This one is very personal for us and our relationship. Record YouTube segment on Saturday night. Usually I do it on Sunday. My regular followers know that. But I have a date tomorrow morning. So I'm here Saturday night doing it, which is why I look and sound tired. And then this last one, car wash before Sunday. Because I have a date and I want my car to be clean. I don't think that's going to happen because I didn't get it done today. And if I'm going to do it tomorrow morning, I'm going to have to get up early to get to my date, to get the car washed before I get to my date. And it's already almost midnight. Oh, it's already just after midnight. So I don't think this one's going to happen. In fact, I'm going to take it out of the promise jar because it's not reasonable. So, 2 that I didn't make, and 1, 2, 3, 4 that I did make. Yay! Well done me. So that's my promise jar, and that's kind of how that works. So, let's see what else I've got for you. Some guidelines. First of all, notice your emotions when you go through this. Now, when I got to the one that was about the massage, my emotions were rather like a kid that didn't get the new toy that their mom said they were going to get this week. I feel like I needed a massage, and I disappointed myself that I didn't get it. As far as the car wash, the emotion is just sort of like, it's like, why did I think I needed my car washed? I can completely forgive myself for not having a spiffy clean car on my date tomorrow. So if you feel a sense of dread every time you're going to have to look in your jar, then maybe you need to reduce your demands on yourself. Maybe there's things in that jar that are just, why are you asking yourself to do these things? If you feel like looking in the jar is silly, then you're probably not placing your promises, your expectations for yourself high enough. And your promises are probably not ambitious enough. Let's see what else we've got here. If you simply don't keep any promises, then you're never actually contacting the reinforcement. And those are behavioral words, but basically what it means is that you're not getting that good feeling that we get from a job well done, from keeping a promise to anyone, including ourselves. So as I said, what we're really doing with a promise jar is we are training ourselves to comply with our own needs. We're being our own good parent. So that's what I have for you tonight. I hope this was helpful. And you will see me on Wednesday. I actually know what we're going to talk about this Wednesday, or I did before I started. Let me pull it up if I can and tell you, because it's kind of exciting. Hold on. Ah, right. It's going to be titled Meditative States for People Who Don't Meditate. Pretty cool, huh? Because not all of us can meditate. I tried for years and years, and I'm actually a Buddhist, but I can't meditate. I can do other things, and that's what I'm going to tell you about next Sunday. But I will be back with a more formal explanation of this, short teaser, on Wednesday for your midweek sneak peek. I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, have an amazing and blessed week. See you soon.